to understand there's an important also question in the interview. So first thing is environment, right? Now, if they ask you who pushed the code and things like that, you're going to tell them it depends on the environment. Like the way I just said, it depends on the environment. You can say like currently I'm working and we have a separate team. We give them the code. Give them the code meaning you put the code in a FTP server. You know what is FTP server, right? It's a file sharing system in a Unix machine. It's like a hard drive sitting in somewhere. It's a location. It's very secure, and it's like copy and paste the code in there. You just drop it in there.
Right.
Okay, and from there they pick the code as a separate team, completely separate team. And then separate team doesn't mean it's 20 people team. It could be 1 people, could be 2 people. Usually 1, 2, 3 is a because its version control is a huge responsibility, but not a huge job. Okay, it takes time. So you put the code in the FTP server or some location, they pick it up from there and put it in the production environment. Because what is production environment? It's completely separate place in the Unix server. You have to put the code in there, right?
Right.
Now scheduling. Two-way scheduling happens. One thing in Unix, there is a way you can schedule all your code, like anything that you can execute, any exe file or .sql file, things like that, batch file, things like that, you can automatically run them. In Windows too, you can automatically run them. You can put a time in there. You can put a time in there, like say 11:03, run it. It's going to start running. Okay, you can do it in Unix. It's called cron job. That's called cron job in Unix. Another thing is, now here is the thing. In a big company, let's say multinational company, whenever they run the file, there is a dependency. Meaning, let's say data is coming from different places, putting it here. In staging, data coming from different places, not only different sources, different places, putting in one place, staging, and from the staging, you start loading to the fact and dimension table, right? Processing. Now, the data is coming from different places. So data file size could be different. The internet connection could be different. So whatever is data is loading from, let's say coming from Kansas City, if data is coming from India, could be slow because of the internet connection, right? Citibank had branches all over the world. HBC has branches all over the world. So internet connection, if something is coming from Singapore and something is coming from New Jersey, of course, New Jersey will be faster. So this will be done first, and then probably we have to wait few hours more for data from Singapore. So now we cannot start process unless we have all the file. Make sense? Simple thing. The logic is here. Let's get all the file first, then start processing to load the data in our data warehouse, fact and dimension table, right? First, we need to get the data. Now, if we don't get the data, today it could take 2 hours, tomorrow it could take 1 hour, next it could take 3 hours because of the data load in the server, internet connection, speed, everything, it's a variable thing, all of this. So based on this, it's not fixed that every day is going to take 3 hours, 2 minutes. It's not like that, right? It happens, the performance testing. It happens like, varies a lot, the time actually. So then how do you manage? If you put this in Unix, in cron job, that, okay, fire this load at 3 o'clock in the morning, but maybe the file file finish loading at 4 o'clock, then you will not have all the file, right? That is a problem. So there is a software that can create those dependency. What they does is, you're going to put that logic, okay, get the file from New Jersey, get the file from India, get the file from Singapore. Once all the files are loaded completely, the load is completed, then start the process to data warehouse. You have to wait until it finishes. You should not start loading the data in the data warehouse until all the files are completely loaded in the staging. So you put a flag in there, make sure the data is loaded. To create those complexity dependency, there is a software in the market. It's called, one of the most popular software is Control M. Another is AutoSys. Control M, you need to write it down. Control M auto sys. Okay, this is the important things that you actually brought auto sys. Okay, so those software is like for front end automation we use, let's say QTP, right? Selenium, right? Those are the thing we use. So same thing for automation of the task. What we use for QTP, what we use for Selenium. For functional automation, whatever we do manually, it automatically does it for us, right? Same thing, it automate the task, like say run this script, then run this script, then run this script. Now I'm saying I have 5 scripts. We're going to run it one after another. If one fail, don't run. Or if this one fail, then don't run this next, but run those 5. Those kind of complex conditional scenario we can create using this software. Control M. You will see in the job, sometimes they ask you, are you work in that environment? Control M and AutoSys, okay? Those are there are some other software also, but those are popular. So yeah,
SIS.
sorry, go ahead. Yes.
AutoSys, SIS.
System, like system, SYS.
Okay, system, SYS.
Yeah. So if they ask you, it's important thing, okay? If they ask you, do you know how to use, do you work on this AutoSys or Control M, make sure you tell them no, because we don't. As a tester, we have absolutely no access to it. We should not have access to it. There is no reason for it. Okay, so you're going to tell them our environment have Control M. Don't tell them both. Okay, it's one. So tell them that our environment uses Control M or our environment uses AutoSys. Whenever it's ready for production, we our developers send it, put it in FTP server. They take the code from there, and the schedule is done in AutoSys. Okay, so thank you for bringing this up. It's a very important concept, because in ETL testing, data warehouse, sometimes they ask, I was also asked, I think couple times these questions, but I forgot to include it probably. So this important thing. So you understand now this concept?
Yes.
So who does it actually? That question is based on the environment. How big is your company or how secure is your company? Normally, like a regular software company they make, it's not that high level security. But any bank is very secure. Any kinds of bank you go, any secure data, they use, for investment or whatever. So any bank, usually they have all these different teams. For anything and everything, they have a separate team and their own individual person does it. So it's important, very important. So it depends on the environment, and then usually developer put them in the FTP server. From there, the separate we have a team, CM team. You can call them CM team. The CM team pull that file from there, load the file from there and schedule it in the using Control M. Okay, because if you realize in a big company, they have so many things going on, so many reporting, right? So many reporting. Like say Home Depot, they have company all over store all over the country. So for reporting purposes, how much money Walmart is making today, right? So they have stores all over the USA. They want to see in the morning tomorrow how much money he made yesterday. So data has to come from all these places, and then all this modification has to be done, and all the store data has to be completed first. Then you can get the report. So those dependency you cannot create. I mean, Unix, what happens is Unix you can create. You have to create shell script, and it's complex basically to create that kind of logic is complex to create. But in Control M is not that is easy. Is better, and also is graphical. It creates a graph and it show you like it show you the current status of each task and each task when you create, under the task probably 20 files supposed to run, let's say, right? So it show you what file is running right now, how many is done, how many currently running, how many need to run, how many pass, how many fail. All these things you can see right there. So managing point of view is very important for whoever is managing it. They can write their C. In Unix, actually, you can see the log file. It's not that user friendly in Unix. And creating complex for a like a multinational company is not actually possible sometimes because it creates so complex. At the Federal Reserve Bank, to set up this task, it takes 3 to 5 days. Like to set up the scheduling, once we tell them, okay, we are finished with our QA testing, is best, we can put it in production. Once we say that, it takes 3 to 5 days to load the file in production, to set up the schedule and run the job. So if I tell them, let's say Monday today, it's going to probably by Wednesday night or Thursday morning, we can see the file is running. They're going to create a ticket, and then they're going to assign somebody who can create that schedule on the control end for that file, because they have to change some parameter, things like that, parameter file, things like that. And then once that's created, and then test it. Before they put it up, they have also testing environment. They want to see if that runs or not. So they test it, is it running? And then once it runs, then they put it in production and then see, okay, it's running. Because that part could create other problem also, so they want to make sure that it runs also. So this is what actually happens. Now, any question?
No, thank you.
Right? Is actually an important thing because, like I said, it is in real environment. You are involved in this kind. Not involved mean you're not doing it, but in the meeting they talk about it, right? What they're doing, what is the status, when it will be loaded, things like that. So it's something that you don't know how to do, but you know what's going on, So it's important. Control M and auto make sure mention one of
conception wise it's simple. Like
it's not a complicated concept. It's a simple concept, but it's good to know. Hassan, any more question?
I think that's about it.
No, we're going to talk about some. Let's actually. Sorry, I should be. I wanted to show today this this logic, the SCD type. Those are very, very important thing to show you so that you will have a better understanding.
So Arif bhai.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have question. Question is so the SCD type 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah.
Are used in a company based on their business needs.
Yes.
Either one of those SCD type, right? So the purpose for it to, let's say, like what I understood, you need to move the data like regular basis or whatever, however they want to move the data from source to target. So they schedule based upon on their business need. So question is, these SCD type are used. Let's say I have yesterday I had two records from source and I moved to target, right? So I moved two records. So now today I have, let's say, 3 more records in the same table, in the source table, and you're moving it to target. So when you move that, they use the flag to indicate that you already have like those 3 data, you have it before. You just move the new 2 data in target, or 3, whatever, new incoming data. Instead of overriding, you just have a system detecting that you already have that, same data in the target system. Is it? This is how. Is it the purpose of
Yes.
this SCD type?
Not the purpose. Not the purpose. This is how SCD type works.
That's how it works.
Reporting, right?
Report.
Purpose is different, right? This is how it is worked. This is the process. Now, like you said, that is correct. Now, if we have now let's talk about the flow a little bit. In the source, we have like say text file, database, whatever. We pull all the data and put it where? In the staging area, right?
Right.
Now, why we have staging area? Why? If you realize what's the purpose, staging is completely different database actually, right? It's a database. You have to set up a data. You have to think whenever there is a database, Whenever there is a database, some kinds of DBA needs to involve in there. You need a DBA, it's a work, it's a money for company. Then why you need it, right? So staging is basically just for processing purposes. You put all the data in there because data may not be in always data base it's coming. It could come from text file. Most of the time data comes in a text file though. Not, I mean, a lot of time data comes from text file, like XML file. XML file data comes. Any banking you work, 90% time you'll see XML file or JSON file. There's another format called JSON, things like that. So data is coming from different format. Now you have to convert them in RDMS, right? In a table format. You have to put them in a table. So that's why you put them in the staging. So in the staging, the purpose is to process the data. That's it. To process it. Nothing else. Not to store it for 3 years. You take the data, put it in the staging, you process the data. Process meaning whatever you need, you put it in there. Whatever do not need, throw it out. Things like that. Put it in the table.
Transformation.
Divide something, minor changes you do. But from the staging, you load them into fact and dimension table, right? Now, once it's loaded, done. You don't need the staging data anymore. You don't need it. Technically, you don't need it. You can delete that. This is what happens. Usually in staging, you keep the data for 1 to 3 days. The most could be 1 week. That's the most actually. In my last job, it was 3 days. We had a truncate function in there. Once the data is loaded, it creates a flag, is loaded, it's done. So those data gets deleted after 3 days because it's loaded. We already have the data in the loaded, meaning we have the data in the staging, right? So we don't need the data. If we need the data, we can get it from the data warehouse. So once the data is loaded, you do not need it. So in that case, you don't need to keep the data in staging area. So staging area, if they ask you in the interview, and also for your understanding, we get all the data from the different sources, put it in the staging. From the staging, we actually use the Informatica or whatever tool we use to load, to take it from the staging. We're taking it, using the transformation and put it in the data warehouse, right? But from the source to the staging, we also use Informatica. We can also use regular DDL, like regular stored procedure, to load the data. It's like direct load, nothing is happening. So we can do two things. We can use stored procedure to load the data, or you can use Informatica also, or any tool, I mean. So if here loading, it's just directly loading. You are not doing anything, just load the data. You are not using any transformation rule. You are not using any business rule. You are just putting it in there. So from different sources, you're getting all the data in the staging. Now you have the data in the staging. Staging, from the staging to the data warehouse, fact and dimension table. Whenever you load from staging to data warehouse, in that stage, you are using Informatica or whatever tool you are using to use all the business rules, transformation rules that we talk about. And once the loaded is completed, just in case to be on the safe side, you keep them for a day, 2, 3. The most could be 1 week, but they're still in the staging area. You don't keep it more than that. Usually, that's the standard. Make sense?
Yeah, but what my question was, I understood what you said, that when there's an incremental loading, I think that's what they call, like data is coming every day, right?
Yes, every day could be.
The data is coming every day. So what I'm saying in the source, if I'm saying it right, let's say I already have 5 records in the target. Now the data is coming again, another 5 record today. That was 5 record yesterday.
Okay.
So you got 10 record in the source now. So what I'm saying, when you're loading that, the last 5 record came in the source, and you loading into target, right? Mm-hmm. So in that process, you're not loading all 10 again in your target.
You're not loading.
You're just loading the 5. So that's what I mean. Like,
right.
So the SCD type, you have some sort of flag It's saying you already have those 5, you just load the new 5, because it's gonna build up over the time and your load is going to be like huge load. So why would you want it to transport that, big file instead of you just take whatever that's coming? That's why the slowly changing part, right?
Now here, let's talk more about this loading part from where. Let's say you have source file, meaning some text file, right?
Mm-hmm.
Some text file is coming from where? It could be in a server sitting, FTP server sitting, right? You set up an ETL tool that you give them the location of that server. Whenever there is a file, right? Any new file you put, because how do you know it's new or old? Because there's a date flag, right?
Right.
So you put a file there in the FTP server, and then what Informatica does, all the text file he loaded in the staging. That text file, whatever data it has, because it could be one text file, it could be 10 text file, right? So when there is a text file, let's say I have a text file, let's say text1.csv. So that file you dropped it in the FTP server. So whenever there is a new, it always fire a trigger saying that okay, I have something new. So Informatica pull that file and load it in the staging, right? Clear. Now, whatever file he loaded, he knows that I loaded this file. How he knows? He knows the file number, because there's a unique number. Always there is a primary key in each area. Staging, dimension table, fact table, source, wherever all these file, they have a unique number. So by using that unique number, the ETL knows, did I load that file or not? He knows that. So he load that file in the staging, right? And then all the process happens from staging to target fact dimension table. Now let's say you put another file in that source, in that server, in that folder, FTP server, you put another file. Now you have two files. Now ETL is not gonna pull the previous file, because by looking at the number, ID number of that file, he knows which one he loaded, right?
Okay.
Which one is loaded, he knows already. Now let's say do this thing. This is you understand this part, right? He knows whatever in the server. Right? Now say these two files you already loaded. Now what you did, you try to be tricky. You delete these two files from the server, FTP server, but same file you put it again. Same file you put it again. You understand this? Like you have it in the server, ETL pull it, put in the staging, done. But you delete it from the source, the folder, right? You just put two files, ETL did it, done. And instead of putting the third file in there, fourth file in there, what you did, trying to be tricky, see how ETL works. To test it, you delete these two files. And then you put them completely, look like it's a new. So let's say you change the name or something, whatever. You put these two files. So if you change the name, if you change the ID or things like that, ETL is going to pull that file again. He doesn't know if he already put it in there or not, because the ID is different, the file name is different. So he's going to load it in the staging area, everything loaded. But here is the important part. From the staging, he is going to check record one by one, right? And put them in the dimension table, fact table, right?
Right.
If you realize from the source to staging, he just picked the file. How? By file name, file ID, file. He did not look in the data itself. No. He just picked that file and everything he put in the staging. Now from the staging to the target, meaning fact, dimension table or view, whatever we have, you're going to look the record one by one, process them. One record you're going to pick from that file, process it and put it in the fact dimension table. Now, whenever you're processing now, if the record, the file that you already loaded before, you are not going to load them. That's the duplicate test. Remember, we have to test. There is a duplicate test, necessary type. So if you have already record, what is going to ETL is going to do from the staging the text file, is going to pull one record. Let's say in a text file I have 100 record. He's going to pull the first record and he's going to compare it with the dimension table. Do I have it there? He's going to check, compare. If it's there, he's going to throw it. If it's not there, he's going to put it. So if you put the duplicate file in there, it is not ultimately is going to go in the dimension table. ETL may pick it based on your trickiness or based on the file name or things like that. Sometimes what happens, file get corrupted. Corrupted meaning what? Let's say how it gets corrupted. This is a conceptual thing to understand for you. It happens. Let's say, like say in the head office in the in Washington DC in Citibank head office, data is coming from different places. Now say I'm from New York. I'm a branch manager, right? So I'm loading. I'm putting all the package data from today's date, yesterday, right? Yesterday meaning what? From midnight at 12 o'clock until today. Yeah, from midnight 12 a.m. I mean 12 to 12 o'clock at 1 minute, let's say, today until 11:59, right? 12:01 to 11:59. Now by mistake, if I put, let's say, instead of 11:59, I'm crossing over to 1 o'clock in the morning, right? By mistake. So I have that some 1 hour extra data. But next day, if I correct it meaning I'm taking from 12 o'clock. So, but 1 year data is extra, right? So I'm giving like 2 days data, but one day data I have correct, another data I have some overlapping data. This data I have in both file, right? Simple. It happens. It happens. Why? It doesn't happen purposely. How it happens? It happens because sometimes the system fail. It's loading the data at 11 o'clock for some reason it's shut down. So then how you handle them? You shut down, you don't have 1 hour data. So next day you run 2 days of data. So 2 days data you already send them. Tomorrow you are sending 2 days of data, including yesterday. The 1 hour gap that you have, you put them instead of 1 hour, you just take the whole day data. So you have 2 days data. So one day you have one data, another file you have 2 days data. So one day is completely overlapping, 23 hours data. So now in the ETL file, it should be able to catch those duplicate records. There's the duplicate test. You put it in the staging, but from the staging to target, meaning dimension table, because you compare, before you put them, write them in there, you check, do I have it or not? If I have it, I throw it out. I don't put it. Make sense?
Okay. Yeah. Just one more question is like, you don't have to go in details. Just yes, no, almost type question, because I already know what is surrogate key. So the surrogate key only, mostly, I think, I don't know if you mentioned somewhere in the video, just wanted to clear with you. Surrogate key, is it used only in target database or used also in source as well?
No, source target database.
Only target, that's
target database.
That's target, right?
Yeah, target database. But surrogate key, if you realize, when I start using it, whenever I get a record from the source, whenever I put them in the staging, at that point I insert surrogate key. It's a separate key. It doesn't come with the source. It's a separate column you not manually, automatically insert.
Auto sequence generated.
Let's say in the source you have 10 column, right? Let's say. Right. So when you put them in the staging, you create 11 column, one extra column you put as a surrogate key. So it starts from the staging to target. Anything is not only target though. Target meaning target key, fact dimension table, right? Now, if we create a view, if we create a materialized view, if we create a data mart from this data warehouse, so all these following steps, you will have that surrogate key. Surrogate key is the most important thing in any data warehouse to track record. Record from the staging, it is going like say 20 places, right? For each record has one individual surrogate key, primary key, right? Surrogate key. So if it goes in 20 different database, 20 different places, this surrogate key will never change. So you can track back that where it is coming from. This is what we tracking back.
Yeah, if there is a change, then you defeat the purpose.
Yes.
Of course. In surrogate key, okay. Yeah. All right, let's move on.
Those are the things that you ask is a good, very important question. Actually, is very most important. Data warehouse is nothing but concept. SQL is the same if you realize. If you use regular writing SQL code for regular database testing, backend testing, application testing, data warehouse, same thing, SQL. But the difference is actually this concept. how the structure is, how this thing works. If you understand that, if your concept is clear, the ETL is the most easiest thing to test. Testing wise, if you understand the concept. If you do not understand, it's very complicated. It's like too many but each part has very interesting and like a purpose of it. So if you understand all this purpose, how this thing works, then it's very, very easy, and you'll have fun also to do that. Yes, Aitbhai, any question? We're going to talk about some old stuff today, right? Saturday, today, as you know.
Yeah.
Any question from the old thing?
I was going through something on it.
I had an interview last week, phone interview. It's in North Carolina. Charlotte. Okay.
Charlotte.
I had one interview. What happened?
Charlotte, California.
Yeah, sorry, Charlotte. Yeah, Charlotte, North Carolina. So the question, one of the question that I actually like, they ask requirement change. How do I handle requirement change? Okay. And this question also I was asked before also. Okay, that's very important, because the expert people, whoever, good, this is a good interview question, because they want to know, they will ask you a question from real life scenario that actually happens. Another question was do you strictly follow agile? What is your agile standard? Okay, that's very real life question. What he wants to know, agile, if you, two things. One is the book rule, and second thing is what actually we do. Regular, say stop sign, in the stop sign, and there is a yell sign, right? It's two different things. Yell sign, you stop once, look left and right. If you don't see car, you go, right? Be careful. But stop sign, you must have to stop twice. That's the rule, book rule. You stop right before the stop sign, and then you look left and right, and then move very slowly, and then again look left and right. If you see car, you stop. If you don't see car, then you go. That's the book rule, right? Stop twice, look left and right twice. Do we do that? We don't. We stop once, barely, and then look left and go, right? So that's the rule and real life scenario. So this is the thing in Agile also. Agile, this is a standard book rule that all the thing that SDLC we studied, right? What it should be. Every day we have meeting, stand-up meeting, right? 15 minutes, all these things. But real life scenario, I never work in a real life scenario. This standard, never. Always something happen. A little bit change, always. Okay. So that's what I'm saying. But some places does. Some places does. It's not that it never happens. It happens, But it's always, like say right now I'm involved in 3 projects. 2 projects completely new. I'm start working. Old project I'm doing some UAT support. So okay, before I forget, let me tell you about this. Give you a little life scenario. Once the testing is complete, right? Let's say we are testing something, we are finished testing, we had some defect, we give it in the dev, they fix it, we test it, we done, let's say no defect is found, right? So give me 1 second. Okay. So once the testing is done, what do we do? Everything is complete, ready for production. So we give them the production, but before production, it goes to UAT, right? Am I correct?
Yes.
Guys, this is very important for you to understand, because it's not only that it's an interview question. If they ask you something related, you need to somewhere tell this thing. The reason I emphasize this thing a lot I emphasize, the reason is, it's just simple. It's not that they're going to ask you this and you tell them. So if your concept is clear, I want you to use this kind of scenario with other question, because these are the things going to prove that are you working or not. Are you working or not? These are the type of like statement will prove you. Trust me, this very small thing is the most important thing in the interview, because they want to know how are you really working or not. That's the first thing. If any Indian person take an interview, the first thing they will try to understand, are you a real person or not. That's the first thing they try to understand, because you can learn from the book, you take classes from somewhere, so you know. They don't care about this how much you know, they care about are you real or not. What happened is because they are the one who does all this thing, right? Bad thing, they started it, now we are following it. So that's why they're suspecting everybody, because whoever is taking your interview probably came like this. Okay. So they always suspect. That's why they suspect, because they know that they came like this. What happened is, in my current job, there's a Bengali guy who is working there for 3 years. Now his project is ending in December. So he's in the market, but he's very worried to get a job, really worried. I was like, why you worried so much? You worked so many years and you were working here, he then later on, he told me, in a separate place, they say, actually, I don't tell anybody. This is my actually first job. I don't have much experience. Okay. So that's why he's worried. So these are the thing, he worried to get caught. And like Indian people, they're smart, they try to catch you this kind of thing. So the environmental wise, even they don't ask you, if you know the concept, you can use this kind of statement in that for answer some other question. So it's very important. Like agile, like if you tell them, oh, we have everyday meeting, which is fine, every meeting you can have. You never change date or never extended things like that or never cancel. That's wrong.
That's not possible, right? That's not possible.
That's not possible. Anything can happen. This is what happened. See, right now we had UAT. They had some reporting defect. They found 10 of them. He's supposed to finish last week. The developer is leaving this week. Yesterday was his last day. The developer is leaving. He's left. So what he did in 1 week, instead of going through the defect, he gave other person KT, knowledge transfer. KT means knowledge transfer, meaning he explaining what he did to other person. So nothing is fixed. The last week was the deadline, but 10 defect is still open from the UAT. So nothing is getting done. So the thing is shifted. The project that I work, initially the deadline was June 26, I think, if I remember correctly. To put it in production, June 26, now it's October. How that happened? So it is not possible sometimes, and sometimes things happens. So that's why you need to know what's really going on. If you that's why if you understand all this real life scenario, you can use those things that, okay, this doesn't happen, this happens in our world. You can tell them.
So that's what you just said is so true, and it happens, right?
Yeah.
So like somebody, like let's say for me, I was not in that environment for that job interview. I wouldn't be able to answer because I don't know what happened.
Yeah.
Maybe there's, and they do like ask you what happened, like you have defect, users caught in the last minute, and you have to send it to production. What do you do in this scenario? So if I don't have real life experience, in that moment I wouldn't be able to say it, what happened.
Yeah, that's why I like sometimes I talk like something that is not related to whatever we are talking, but this is the real life scenario. I want you to know, because this is not like something that I can write down and always tell you one by one. Whenever it happens or whenever I remember, I wanna tell you so that you can write it down a little bit or remember them, and you can use those kind of scenario. What happened? Like you can tell the same thing in your environment also, that this is what happened. Like I said, my developer is leaving. What can you do? There is nothing can stop you, right? If I want to leave tomorrow, there is nothing can stop me to leave the job. Absolutely nothing. I think the only place that can stop is the army or something, right?
Why some place they sign a contract, right?
Contract is nothing. It's like formalities. What contract? I had a
Company before they hire you, no? Like
yeah,
you
they send you
cannot.
contract, but what is that? Yeah, they send you contract. They send you contract, but you are not telling them. Like say right now, if I leave, let's say in my current job, what I'm going to tell them goodbye, and I got another job. I'm leaving. No, you're not going to tell them that. You're going to tell them I have some emergency, family emergency. I cannot work. You know, if you have a contract 1 year and you're living in 6 months, first thing is, of course, you can tell them some place is 2 weeks, some place is 3 or 4 weeks. You can tell them, okay? You can tell them that, okay, I'm leaving. That's standard. But let's say the contract says you cannot leave or something like that. What are you going to tell them then? I have a family emergency. I cannot work. That's it. Nobody can force you, right? Nobody can force you. It's against the law. Nobody can force you for a family emergency. Okay. So that's it. That's why a contract is actually mean nothing. I mean, it's something legally, but the amount of effort they have to spend to track you, what you're doing, and go to the code and all these things, they don't have time for this or money for this. Why wasting time? You know. So that's why contract is important, but it's actually, I mean, actually it's nothing. For your point of view, like say I'm working as a tester, from my point of view, contract means nothing. If I
No,
look
I mean
for a job,
not like this level, like some higher level. I heard
higher
people.
level is important. You know why? Because if you realize, if you like a CEO, everybody knows one company CEO. Or if you are like architect, like if
Right.
you are BI architect, data architect, or enterprise architect, those position is very important. Absolutely important. Those position is, of course, is important. This contract, this reference is very important. Right now, we just give them any name. You're calling them like say you reference is me or you my lead. No, it's those contract. Those things is different. Okay, high level position like CTO, Chief Technology Officer, architect, those things is important. Of course, it's important. But I'm talking about like as a developer job, as a tester job, you know, lead job. Those doesn't make any difference actually.
Are they?
Yeah.
Yeah, give me a few moments, I'll be back, alright?
What happened?
I said I'm going out, just give me a few moments. I need a 5 minutes break. I'll be back.
It's going for a wreck for 5 minutes.
Oh, okay. Sorry, Said Bhai. Yeah, sure. Okay. So, so the question that I was saying, they asked me this important question that I liked actually, requirement change. How do you handle? What do you do? He was saying, you know, that's one question. Another question was agile methodology. Like, his question was, do you deviate from the agile standard? That was the actual question actually. Do you deviate? Deviate meaning from the standard going left and right, like moving from that standard. Do you deviate from the agile standard? Okay, if you write it down, Hasan bhai, write it down.
Yeah.
Deviate, D-E-V-I-V as a Victor, D-E-V-I-A-T-E.
Deviate from.
You deviate from the agile standard. That's one thing. And how do you handle requirement changes? Okay. And how do you handle bugs? When you find a bug, how do you handle them? What do you do? There was another thing. What are the challenges you face? What are the challenges? Okay.
How do you handle requirement changes?
Those are the kind of like environmental question wise, you know. And then the technical question they asked, all of you guys know that. He was asking me what is union all, what are the joining you use. Left join, he asked me what is left join. And then what is the other question he asked me? Oh, another thing I did not tell you. Let me tell you this. Let me write it down. Give me 1 minute. Let me ask. Try to come. Okay, I'll explain. This is important. I did because I did not tell you this thing before. This is simple question, but in database. And
So,
you know this question, right? How do you handle requirement change? What do you do in bug and agile? What is the standard? We talk about this in details, right? Agile, things like that.
yeah, agile is just we talk about.
Like, see, the question is wording is different, but if you understand, is the same meaning, right? Basically, what do you do in agile? Like, do you change the time? Do you change the date? Do you have meeting every day? Or I mean, sometimes do you skip the meeting? Things like that. Oh, what I was saying, the two projects that I'm working right now, I had agile, both of them are agile, but we have meeting twice a week for each project, not every day. Okay, twice a week. The standard is what? Every day, stand-up meeting, 5 days, right? But we are
15.
following 2 days a week. So this is what we are doing. So this is the kind of deviation. So if they explain, you can tell them that, okay, you can tell them like, I'm working two projects. One project I have every day stand-up meeting, another project I have only twice a week. Things like that. That's the real life scenario. And also, as I said before, like, do you change the date and date? It depends. Sometimes we don't change the date. We just roll over whatever the leftover things for the next sprint, or yeah, we change the date sometimes. It depends if it's an internal project or is project client or is a client project. The client is coming, is a prefix. We know that people are coming from outside, and that's like it was fixed for a long time ago. Then we don't change the date. It's not necessary. We can just explain to them this user story is not completed, but this is what we did so far. But this is what is left. We are planning to do it next spring. Hassan bhai, any plan to come in the city anytime soon?
Any plan? Cannot, right?
Now, I have some documents I print few like model type ARD model, some sample, data model, mapping specs. I printed few things. So I just wanted to, show you or give it to you because it's a printout. I don't have it in soft code file. So if you come, I mean, not for this, if you like come whenever, I have it. So let me know. I'll just give it to you.
Okay, I will contact.
Nothing important, but it's good to see,
Yeah.
Now, Hassan bhai, another thing, how comfortable you are. Let's say I'm going to show you all these example, SRD type, how to do and everything, right? Can you 1 second? Hello. I did, but I don't know. Last week, I had another session, another class. I recorded it, and she was telling me that some voice was not like talking, right? And then was gone voice, some part. And then that's one thing. And another video issue was, what do you call that? It was like skipping things. I don't know. So yeah, I'm recording it, but
because the screen you are showing at some point that
it goes off automatically.
I think it went off automatically, right? Showing like that. I don't know if your computer was recording or not.
But it was recording. So how did I went off?
I think it's recording now.
Stop recording. So it's recording now, right? Stop recording. Why stop before? I didn't press stop before.
I think little more than before the views.
But I didn't press it, so I don't know. Is memory is full or something? Because it is not recording in the the cloud, so it's recording the local file. But yeah, yours change. Stop recording. I don't know. Let me talk again a little bit. Okay, sorry. I don't know. I didn't press it, so probably enter. It was selected, and I pressed enter or something. I don't know. Oh man, this is the thing. Probably. Let me just get rid of this. Oh, okay, no problem. Yeah, that was important topics. So if this thing happen again, please guys take a take a look. Sorry. Okay, so view again. So now let me before I explain, tell me what you understand so far. Hassan bhai,
জি
tell me what do you understand.
এখন জিজ্ঞেস করলে পারবো না আরিফ ভাই
Okay, Said bhai.
না বুঝছি লাইক আপনি
No, but
ইয়ে বললেন
whenever review, I'll review it right now. Let me review it. Okay, view, right? Before I review view, okay, truncate. Did I record truncate delete drop or no?
I think you did truncate, yeah.
But I did not press. Did I? I don't think I pressed it. Why would I press it? I don't know how that happened. Maybe this is the same thing happened with my previous recording. Okay, let me review view a little bit. But before review view, delete truncate. This thing is done, and then requirement change. Let's talk about this thing, and then we'll come back to view. Okay. So requirement change. How do you handle requirement change? That was the question. Okay, he was saying, how do you handle requirement changes? So tell me, how do you handle requirement changes? I think I talked about this, right? Like if there is a changes, what do you do basically? Hassan bhai? Said bhai? If there is a changes, what do you do? Oh, I remember. You know what I did? That was actually I did it. I just remember because stop recording. I press it. I just remember I did the same thing. That's why it happens. It cannot be a system mistake. It's my mistake because when I was like from last class, other class, like say we take break, right? When I go on break, I press it, stop, and then when I came back, I forgot to restart it. Okay, this is what I did because remember I had a phone call. I think I just stopped it at that time, and then I forgot to restart it. This stop. This is what I did. Same thing before because it cannot be system mistake. Okay, so requirement changes. So what it happens actually, things requirement change happens, right? It happens a lot. It always happens. There is never you will find unless it is a like say waterfall and strictly like say federal project or DoD project, things like that. You hear the news like the F-35 or the airplane. I think it's like how many $1 billion each plane, right? The project was like extended to several years, right? You guys heard this news? It was like a couple months ago, it was in the news.
Yeah.
2 years extended the project. This is what happens in federal project. I mean, I'm surprised. Same thing, any government project. I work in two places, like government, state. One I work in state children administration. Another one I'm doing a federal project. This unbelievable. It's not like 1 week is taking like 2 weeks. It's like 1 month job is taking like probably 1 year. It's unbelievable. They extend the project. Like how they do it is surprisingly, you will be surprised. One of the project that I'm working right now is started about more than 2 months ago. I just started like last 2 weeks ago, but project initially started more than 2 months ago. Still they are deciding. I'm surprised. They are last week meeting, they are deciding who is BA of this project as a BA, who will play the role as a BA, who will play the role as a product owner, PO, PO means project owner. Okay, you will hear that, you will rarely hear the term project owner. I mean product owner. You will say PO, product owner, PO, right? And then PM, project manager, PM, and then BA we also know. Okay, so there's the term PO, PM, BA. So they are still deciding after 2 months who will be the product owner, and then they change it after talking all these things, they change it all of a sudden. They change the BA, and BA came. The new BA came and it's like, oh, what is my role in this project? BA came and this is what she said. I'm just saying that is so much disorganization, orientation of this thing going on in this government project is a lot of relaxation and fun.
But Arif bhai, don't be surprised. In federal and state, city, I mean, আমরা বাংলাদেশের কথা বলি in a third world country. This is the most bureaucratic thing happen in this country.
This is, that's what I'm saying. 2 projects I work, same thing I'm saying. In state project, last project, I work in building a completely new data warehouse. Initial plan was I had 6 months. 6 months. And when I was working, that was the 7th year. The plan was to build the data warehouse in 6 months, 7 years ago. And when I started was the 7th year of that project. 7th year of one project building. They are changing. I don't understand. They are doing parallel. They are building a project in reporting tool, OBIE. Same time they are building the same project in Java. They're using it because they are not sure which one will be good. They don't know all these things. This is the thing happening in World Trade Center downtown. You know that the downtown area, Manhattan downtown area, for this after Sandy, they had a plan to rebuild the whole thing, like construction wise. It's going to cost you 1.5 to $2 billion. That was the initial plan. $2 billion the most. 1.5 to $2 billion. They end up paying $8 billion. End cost was $8 billion. That's happening in federal project. Same thing here. The project that I finished, supposed to finish in June. Now it's in October. It's in still UAT. Still UAT. 10 defect open. It was June to October. And it's going to finish probably by end of this year. Because the amount of defect they have, and another funny thing is, it's not the defect actually. Out of this 10 defect, 9 of them, they are changing things. 1 actually they are defect. The defect actually is 1. 9 of them, they put the incomplete logic. The logic was not, the requirement was not right. Not that right, they don't give them the full requirement. Now they find out the requirement is not complete. So 9 of them, they're changing the requirement. Now I have to build the ETL code again, I have to test it again. So we'll be lucky if we can finish it by end of this year. June month, 6 month thing, like extra. And I wouldn't think, maybe we're going to finish it by December. It's like that. So anyway, we are deviating from our study. So requirement changes. So this is what happens. Requirement changes comes in different form. Okay. One thing is, if you realize, one thing is requirement change means you have something. Now you want to add something to it. You have something already, but you want to add something to it. Okay. This requirement. And of course, another thing is you already have a requirement, but that's wrong. That's also requirement change, right? You have a requirement, it's wrong. But you have something, you want to add something to it, right? Or you have something, you want to change to it, right? One is enhancement, you are adding something, right? And one requirement you have is wrong. And another thing is you have saved it, but you want to make some changes to it. One is you have it, you want to change something from it. Another one is you have it, but you want to add something to it, additionally, enhancement. Another one, you have it, but it's wrong. Now you realize it's wrong, so you want to change it. So requirement changes comes multiple form, right? Requirement changes doesn't mean, okay, you have it, change it. Yeah, that's true. Change it, but like what do you mean by change it? Meaning I have a requirement, now that is wrong, so I have to change it. I have it, you gave me a requirement. Requirement meaning what? Do this based on this logic, right? This is wrong, so I have to change it. This one thing. Or let me double check my recording.
Yeah, this one is recording.
Okay, okay. Sorry guys, I have to be careful on this one. Okay, so three things we said. Requirement changes. So what do you do? Basically, that was the question. What do you do? Requirement changes. How do you handle this thing? So yeah, requirement changes always happens. I mean, not always. It happens a lot. Okay, it happens a lot. So if the requirement change happens, what we basically do? We understand the requirement first. We go through the requirement. We analyze the requirement, and based on that, we give them an estimate how long it will take for us to test. Okay, this is how we handle. If they ask you how do you handle requirement changes or what do you do when there is a requirement changes, okay, there's the question that I said I was asked last week. So yeah, you can tell them, yeah, requirement changes happens, sometimes it happens. So when it happens, we go through the requirement, we understand the requirement completely. If we have a question, we talk to the BA or whoever is involved in there on the change request. We try to understand the requirement, and then we try to match what the existing requirement we have, if we have it already not, what is the gap between what we have, what we don't have. Basically, we analyze the requirement. After I analyze the requirement, we high level come up with our test scenario, how we're going to test it. So first we go through the requirement, understand the requirement, analyze the requirement. Once that understanding analyzation part is done, then we go through the scenario of our test scenario, how I am going to test it. So based on that, I give them an estimation. That's the keyword that you could use. I give them an estimation how long it will take us to test it. Because initially when we start testing, we gave them also an estimation how long it will take us to test the whole thing. Now there is a change. So if we give them before, let's say 80 hours, now this is change. So this change, how long it's going to take us? 10 hours? Then we altogether should be 90 hours. That's the thing. So once again, so if there is a requirement change, first we analyze the requirement, or we try to full analyzation, meaning go through the requirement, talk to the BA, whoever is involved in the requirement changes, talk to them. Once understanding complete, we check with our existing requirement what do we have and what are the changes, and then we find out, we try to find out the scenario, testing scenario, how we can test this defect. The existing test cases that we have, can we test it based on this, or do we need to additional test cases? Do we need to create additional test data, things like that? And based on that, we modify also our test plan if we need to do some additional task in there. After doing all this, we give them an estimation how long it's going to take us to test it. So this is how we handle our test requirements. Clear?
Okay, Arif bhai, so is it same the answer you just said to the question, is it same will apply? I think the interview question you handed out to us, it says what can be done if requirements are changing continuously?
Yeah, basically the cycle. Now whenever there is a change, this is what you do. Continuously meaning whenever there is a change, this is what I need to do. We do the same thing. Anytime there is a change, this is what I do.
Same answer applied to this question you just gave it to us, right?
Yes. Okay. So that's
Okay.
basically, we get the requirement, go through the requirement, understanding it, talking to the VA, whoever is involved. Once understanding, we try to find out what is the existing requirement, if we have similar thing, and what is the gap, if it's how differ it is from the existing one. And then from there, we're trying to find out if we need to write new test cases, or the existing test cases will cover that test scenario or not. And then change the test plan accordingly if changes needed. And then finally, we give them an estimation how long it's going to take us to test it. Okay, we mentioned this term. Okay.
Is there any requirement change form they need to submit to us?
Yeah, they do it. We don't. What they do is called change request form. Change request. So it happens on the business level. Like BA will give them change request to the lead developer or and project manager. It happens. I mean, they do it though. We just see the requirement change form. What is the changes? We see. We don't write the requirements or anything. We see. They will let us know what is the final changes. They will explain to us. Yeah, it comes through usually in a formal procedure.
All right.
It's
So
not like
first,
somebody is telling on the phone. It's not like that.
all right. So first thing first, like they gave us the change form, requirement change form,
Yeah.
and they requested, and after that we will analyze that requirement, and we will go through with that and check it out. Like if we need to change the test cases according to that, or if we need to build new test cases, or like the old test cases will work for them, and
Yes.
then that the process goes through, right?
Yes.
That's how it goes.
So basically, is a change request form comes and they explain what are the changes in that form, and then also they update, the requirement, their documents. They update it. They put it that information. What are the changes happening? All this information is in there. So we go through all the document, that form, that document, and then, like I said, all this process. Okay, that's very important.
Then on our end, it's just like we need to analyze the requirement. We need to check it out if what's the gap between the requirement, and then we need to check it out if the current test cases will able like to cover that requirement or not. Else, like we need to create a new test cases, right?
Yes. See, this is the reason I'm bringing this up. This is kind of environmental question. Now, what happened inside, it's not like written in a book or something. You can read it and explain. So that's why I'm trying to give you some scenarios that happens,
Okay.
and then you can explain properly. And like I said, it's environmental question, meaning it's not a right or wrong answer actually. It is he convinced or not? Whoever is taking
Okay.
interview, is he convinced or
It,
not? You know,
all right. So it's all depend like it's environmental inclusion means like it's all depend like the work environment in which we are working, how we do the practice over there.
yeah, basically, yes, that is
That's
correct.
that's all.
Yeah. So this is the thing. So the way you explain is very important. Actually, the way you are explaining things is very important. That's why the more understanding and concept you have is better for you. So,
Okay.
like I said, this is happened in my project a lot. It's happening right now. Okay, in UAT they found some issue, and after finding some issue in UAT they find some issue. This is what happened. Find some issue, and then when they find some issue, they realize that they find some. What happened is the developer completed something. They put in QA. So I tested. We tested it. We did not. We find some issue. Developer fix it. Find some issue. Developer fix it. Going back and forth. Now no issue. So we put it in the UAT, right? Once UAT is complete, then it's going to go to in production, right? So in UAT they find some issue. Oh, this not working. That not working. So they come to us QA. Oh, what did you test? This is an issue? And then we analyze it. I said, no, this is an issue. That is true. But show me in the requirement document. For us, it called source to target mapping, right? As an ETL tester, it's called source to target mapping. So you are saying it's wrong. Okay, yeah, it is wrong. But where in the mapping document, it says what you are asking for. Whatever you are asking for, it is wrong for you, but for me or for Deb, it's not wrong because it's not on the mapping document. So I told them, show me. Here is the mapping document. Show me what it says that. Then he went through everything. It's like, oh, no, it's not there. We have to change it. I said, okay, that's completely different thing. Change it and then I'll test it. But it's not in there. Do you understand what I'm saying? What happened? Like developer, we have a mapping document, right? Data is moving from point A to point B. All these business rules is there. So developer did it based on the business rule. I test it based on the business rule. And then I compare the developer code with, developer target table with our target table, QA target table. Compare them, find an issue, some issue. They fix it. They put it in QA again. After fixes, I test it again. This problem solved, something else came up. I logged them. I said, okay, some other issue. He fixed it. So going back and forth, finalized, there is no issue. Okay. So once there is no issue, I said, okay, we are signing off. QA, signing off, put it in UAT. So now UAT meaning what? Business people are using it. Whoever will be using it, the product, they will test it. UAT meaning what? Whoever will use that product, the software, they will test it. So
another word, end user.
What? End user. Yeah, end user. They are testing it. Now they are testing it. They found 10 issue. 10 issue they find. They send me an email, oh, 10 issue and find what did you test? I was like, holy shit, sorry. I was like, what's going on? Yeah, this happened. I was a little bit nervous. 10 issue they found. So I
Looking
am
out.
all of it. And then it was like confusing. It's completely new to me. So what is this? I tested like last 6 months and I don't understand this. And then the wording that they're putting in, I was like, what is this? Then I actually went through like few times. And then I was comparing with our mapping document, like source to target, whatever the logic for each logic, I was just comparing them. And it's not there. I found one like it's not there. Then I was a little bit happy. I said maybe same thing happening because I don't know it. So that means I've been testing 6 months and I'm not familiar with this. That means this could be new. So I check all of them, and then out of 10, 9 of them is completely new. Like it's not in the mapping. One of them, they had an issue because this logic is a little tweaked. It was not implemented in DAP. It is an issue for DAP because he didn't implement it. So we couldn't figure it out. But 9 of them is new. So then I mapped them. I said, okay, this is for this document. And I show it to them. In the highlighted an email in the Excel, I put it to them. I said, this is what I found. It's not in there. I checked it. Now you show me where it's in the mapping. Then I said, okay, we'll check. Then the business user, he takes like 3-4 days. And after that, he's like, oh, it's not there. We have to change it. I said, that's completely different. Talk to DAP. So now they are talking to DAP. DAP is saying, the DAP lead is saying that, okay, the resource that I have who developed it, now your project is finished. So I put him to some other project. Now, whatever the thing that you are saying is completely new. So put it as a new requirement, and then I'll check how long it's going to take, and I'll assign a new developer for that, because that's not my responsibility at this point. The hour that you told me, I told you, is done. Project is finished. Now all this is completely new things. So I'm going to assign a new developer. The developer is also left last week. So we have a new developer now. He's going to go through all this new requirement. There's going to give an estimation how long it's going to take for the developer. I'm going to review all this. I'm going to give them a new estimation how long it's going to take for me to test, and then we're going to go through it. Okay. So the requirement is one thing. Is like I said, it is like completely new. We have it, but you're giving something new. That's one thing. We have it is wrong. Let's say it's wrong. We have to change it. But another thing is we have it. We adding to it something. We have this thing, but we are adding to it. Let's say we are putting, if somebody gets 90, give them A. Somebody get 80 to 90, give them B. Now we are saying, oh, if somebody get 90 to 95, give them A, but 95 to 100, give them A plus. So that's an addition, things like that. So these are the additions. So if you explain to them, recommendations, explain a little bit details. And so whenever requirement change comes, developer analyze it, we analyze it, testing scenario, estimation, test plan changes, all these things, mention this thing. It's important. This is what I do actually. You have to update the test plan. A lot of people skip that. And when I also take interview other folks, I ask that question. You're not going to believe, I didn't find even one person who mentioned they give them an estimation and change the test plan. These two what I never heard. Okay. That's very important. You change the test plan if necessary, of course, if necessary, and also estimation. You have to give them how long is going to take for you to test, So mention this kind of word. There's the keyword that you need to write. Let me check again. So that's the keyword that you need to give them. Your existing requirement, you are comparing with them. Existing test cases, you are comparing with them. If we can cover, that's very important. You not duplicate test just because some new requirement came. It doesn't mean you have to write new test cases. Could be old test cases could be covered that. So you check that. It's very important. Very, very important to mention that thing. I have to check with my existing test cases if I can use the same test case to cover it, or I have to write new, create new test data, update the test plan, give them estimation. Those are the things must you like include wording wise when they ask you this question. And then we once it's ready to test, then we test it. Clear?
Hi, bye.
Yeah.
So you are a QA manager, right?
I was, not now. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So let's say I'm just a regular Joe Schmo, like I'm a regular tester.
Yeah.
So I get an assignment and I did my assignment, then the standard procedure is to send it to the manager, right? So, okay, this task is completed.
Standard procedure is not to send the manager. Standard procedure to CC the manager. Manager actually just let him know what's going on. He wants to be in the loop. He wants to be in the loop what's going on. But testing status wise, you have to tell the user, end user, BA, your project manager, your Scrum Master. If it's Agile, you're going to let the Scrum Master know, your project manager know, your BA know what is the status. But in the CC, you're also letting know. He wants to know what's going on. That's all. If something wrong with the project or anything, you solve it. That's your responsibility. You own the project. Okay. So what happens is what actually manager does is he allocate you in a project and you make sure you're doing your job. If you are not doing, if the business people complain, oh, he's not doing his job, then he's going to talk to you. What's going on? You need some help, or why you are not doing it? Why you are not coming on time? You're taking too many days off. Those are the things. The testing point of view, manager does not really care how many test cases you write, things like that. No. Usually those are the things done by test lead. Usually, if there is a lead, then he gets involved with your work. Lead get involved with your work, what you did today, things like that. Let me show your query. Let me show you test cases. Lead get involved. Manager does not. Okay, but if you may not have lead, you may not have manager. You have only lead. It depends on the here.
Okay. Yes.
Here funny things is not funny things, good things in a way. We have government, we have lead here. We have in our data team is only 3 of us. Okay, and 2 of them as a lead position. 2 of them, me and another guy is lead. The other person is a ETL tester, but she was a DBA before in another project. She's a DBA. Her role is DBA. But in our project, she's working as a tester. So, but they give you position. It's like what is your previous position? It's government project works like that. How many years of experience you have? What was your previous project role? Based on that, they give you a role. That's like, I'm a lead, but here I'm working just by myself. Nobody is, I'm not reporting to my manager that, okay, this is what I'm doing. He assigned me a task. I'm reporting to the Scrum Master and BA and project manager. This is what's happening, and then my manager is in the CC loop. That's all. I talk to my manager once a week. That's like our 3 people talk, 3 of us and the manager, 4 people we talk, high level wise, that's it. But he doesn't know how many test cases I wrote, what is my query, what is my test result. He has no idea about that. Okay. So it depends also the environment wise, And another thing is also your manager, what kind of person he is. Some manager is very micromanage, So it also depends on the manager. Some people are very bad. Bad meaning they do micromanage. They will be sitting right behind you all the time, will try to watch you. But most of the time is not the case. Easily, relax. As long as you do your job, you'll be fine. That's the whole thing. But some people you'll find, I had experience, are bad. They're born bad. You cannot change them. Yeah, they are. This is how it is. The federal job, government job, you cannot fire them easily. It's very hard to fire them. It's really, I don't know, it's very complex to fire them. So yeah, I think it's really tough. To fire them. If you don't even work, still they cannot fire them. I don't know what's going on, but this is what I see. So the lead that is really bad. Another project, guy is working there. He always complain. They always fight. Last time she was saying to lead, every time you give me hard time, it will be delayed. Every time you give me hard time, it will be delayed. Like sitting close to me, I had the talk. And they argue always. They said, nobody wants to work with you, all these things. They always fight, but nothing happens. So don't worry about the environment is always. There is a bad apple. in New York, anywhere basically, anywhere you go. I mean, if you look in your family life, standard, home, like you say, I mean, you have someone that will always complain or make trouble. Same thing at work. You'll always find somebody that make trouble. You will not in your work, like your team, at least one is troublemaker. It happens. So what can you do? Okay. So requirement is any question on this? This is an important topic. Any question on this?
I have to get this in writing.
Okay. No, this is recording, so you can write it later.
That's what I'm saying. Like, yeah, I have to
Yeah.
write it.
Okay. And so so view. We talk a lot about view, mental view. So let me just recap that view then. So view basically is created from multiple. It could be one table. It could be multiple table behind the scene. So view create meaning create view name S, and then I put a query there. Whatever the query is outputting the data, select clause, right? I'm using select from this table, join this table, where clause, having clause, sum, group by, all these things. I have 250 lines of code, select statement, right? Now this one I'm putting as a view. I'm putting create view name S, and then I'm putting this select statement. That select statement is what? Select statement is what? You are giving you a data set. Select statement is meaning creating a data set for you. So whatever the data set is returning, that is my view, right? That is my view. So every time that view that I created, that uses a normal table. I can query from the normal table meaning what? I can query from the table, from that view. I can query from that view. I can insert record to that view. I can update to it. I can delete from it. I can do anything. Whatever I can do a table, I can do the same thing. So, but the creation is create view name, and then I have to put a select statement. Whatever the select statement data is giving me, that data is basically is my view data. So every time I run a query against that view, that whole select statement is run. Whole selection is run and give me the live current data. If I create a view today, and after 20 days later, if I query from that view, the data might change behind the scene, right? The table that I used to create the view, it might change, but it's going to give me that current data, because whenever I write select all from this, the view name I put, is not giving me what I ran 20 days ago. Is running right now again. It's rebuilding the view. Every time I create, I query from a view is basically recompiling the select statement. Running the select statement from that view. So whenever I run the select statement, it's pulling the data from the table behind the scene. So giving me the live data, right? But as you realize, normal way, I'm querying from the view is running 50 lines of query every time, so it should be slow. But it's not slow. View is usually faster than table or query itself. Why? Because it's pre-compiled. Pre-compiled meaning what? Behind the scene, database do optimization. Meaning, whenever I have a query, database engine runs the same query in multiple way, maybe 5-6 different way. It checks like how much load it is giving to the data to the server. What is the efficiency, meaning the CPU, memory, all these things it is checking. What is taking less time, most important. After running few times, it find out which one is taking less time, right? Most efficient. So that are thing used whenever I run every time that view. He already knows. He don't have to do this optimization setup every time because he already ran it. But he already ran it, so he knows. Now the view, if we change anything in the view, change meaning joining changes, table name changes, things like that, then he's going to recompile again. Whole thing. It's like recreating the view. Okay, it's like recreating the whole view. Unless we do not change anything, it already knows what the setup is. It runs very fast. So it happens because of security. Security reason, because if I have a table like say 20-30 tables and 100 columns, I don't want to show all these columns to the user. I want to like limit the column name, column number, That security reason. Let's say I have a column for social security number. I don't want to show it to like my assistant. So I want to block this column to my assistant. So I create a view without that column name, and then it show me. So those kind of security things. And also it's faster because it's pre-compiled. So use that keyword pre-compiled, and they ask you pre-compile. It means you're gonna say that it's for the database optimization. Whenever we create a view, it runs like several way, but it uses only one way. Whatever takes less time, most efficient. That is saved in the view. So next time, whenever I run any query against that view, it uses that path. So it already knows how to create the test data. Create the data set. So it's very fast. Security, one thing, and is the fast, and also complexity. View is usually created for multiple tables. It's a lot of complex join 3, 4, 5, 20 tables sometimes created, and creating a simple logic. And from that view, you can do anything you want, right? So complexity, another thing. So those are the reason. Now view is not a physical data set. Whenever I query from a view, it runs the select statement that is used to create the view, and just show me the data. Actually, the data is coming from the table. So it's not storing any data itself. It doesn't store anywhere. So it's not physical place it's taking. It's coming from the table. It is just showing me the data. That's it. Okay. For all this variety of reasons, like say complexity, security, and faster, that's it. Table is a physical data. You can find out what is the size of the table. Okay. Now materialized view. Now table, we can do physical data. We can update, delete, whatever we want. View is creating the data from multiple places, creating a data set and showing me the data, right? We can do update, delete, everything, but it's not a physical storage. That's one thing. Another thing is the materialized view. View and materialized view. Materialized view is the physical store of the data. Physical store of the data. Now what happens is materialized view is creating the same way, but the query that is used to create the materialized view, if you run that, it creates a physical store, or it takes all the data from behind the table and put it in the materialized view name under the completely separate table-like thing it creates. With the data set created like a table. Okay. It has a physical data in there. You can see the size of the thing. Now, let's say I create a materialized view today, and after 6 months, I'm querying from the materialized view. So the data that I have is 6 months old. If anything changes behind the scene of behind the table that I used, it's not going to give me the current data, because it's one way. Materialized view, you create a materialized view, it takes all the data from the table you're using and create it. That's it. Now, if you query from this materialized view, it does not run that statement, SQL select statement that I used to create the materialized view. It doesn't run it, because it has already data set there, right? Physical data in there. It has physical data in there. So it's not running it. It's just saving the data, is giving you that. Now, if the table is changing behind the scene over the time, since it is not running the select statement, it is not giving you the current data. It's giving the old data. Okay, it could be 1 day old, it could be 6 months old, right? It is giving you the old data, materialized view. Now, if you want to get the new data again, you have to refresh the materialized view. So view is automatically refreshed every time you run a query from here. Materialized view is not refreshed whenever you run a query against that materialized view. Okay, you have to refresh it.
All right. So maybe which one is faster? Like view is faster or materialized
View is faster.
faster, right?
Yeah. So materialized view is one way thing. You create all the data set. You create all the data set and create it like a table-like thing. It's a physical data in there. So it's there. So you query from that data set. You select from that data set. But view is like select statement is running every time you query from there. But materialized view is select statement is not running. Is getting the data from the view name, materialized view name. Now, to get the live data, you have to refresh the materialized view. Refresh it. Okay. The reason it does it, if you realize, is a load. Every time you run a query, doesn't matter what kind of query, every time you run a query, it creates some load in the database. Right? You run a query, select statement, It's getting the data from the server and giving the data. So it's doing some work in the database server. Hundreds of people, millions of people are using it, right? Based on like Amazon, let's say. It creates a huge load in the database. So they are creating all this logic, table, view, this kind of thing to put less pressure in the server. So materialized view meaning what? You creating a data set that you need, you making a copy, putting it there. Now let the user use it from there. If you query from this materialized view, it's not creating any pressure to the server. It's not, because you create a data set. Now when you run a query from this materialized view, it's only query from this materialized view, whatever data set you have, because you have a physical data in there. So getting the data from here is nothing to do with the server. It's not doing any optimization. Now, if you realize, if you need the data, let's say if you need a monthly data, monthly for some reason, so you can create each month one time. You can run just 1 month at the end of the month, 31st of each month, create the data set, put it in there, and let them use it for 1 month. And then once a month you're using it, or weekly if you need, create a weekly, materialized view. If you need daily, create a daily one time. If you create daily or weekly or monthly, doesn't matter. If you query from this materialized view, it's not going to load it in the pressure in load in the server, because it's completely different set they created, and you query from this materialized view is giving you. And whenever you refresh this materialized view, separate task, you have to refresh it. It's a separate task that is going to refresh the materialized view for you. If you refresh it monthly, weekly, or daily, it's going to just load it one time. So if you change anything on the materialized view, it does not change anything on the table. It's one way. It just goes from the table to the materialized view. It does not come from the materialized view to the table. In view, if a table and then I have a view, if I change anything in the view, it changes in the table too. Why? Because it's connected. In view and table, they are connected. If you query from a table view, view doesn't have anything. It query back from the table and then give you the data. So they're connected, right? Always. But in materialized view, different. You create a materialized view, right there you create a data set. Take all the data from different table and create a completely different table, completely separate table. It's like a table, materialized view. And then you query from materialized view. So anything you're doing is here. If you update, delete, it doesn't change back anything to the table. It's disconnected. Now you are creating a materialized view today. After, let's say today, that's it. 1 month, you are querying from here. So the data, if changes on the table in 1 month, it doesn't change anything here. Now you want to change it here, let's say. You have to refresh it again. It's called refresh the materialized view. If you refresh, then it's going to get the new data again. Unless you refresh, it's not going to give you the new data. Make sense, this thing? Makes sense or not?
Yes, I agree.
Right?
Yes, sir, man. My pleasure.
No, I mean, like the recording that we're doing, so you can go through it again, and then we can talk tomorrow again if you have any question. I don't mind.
Right.
But it's a very, very important concept. As a data warehouse tester, view and materialized view is super important concept, because we always use most of the time, 99% of the time, we use view and materialized view, because that put less pressure to the database, right? View and materialized view, if you realize, less pressure. Why less pressure and faster? Materialized view place less pressure. Why? Because it's created once and then you can see many times without putting any pressure to the server. Optimization, right? And view is pre-compiled, so it knows how to get the data. It already knows, so it doesn't do all this calculation behind the scene. It's already know, so it's faster. So view and materialized view use a lot. And another thing is, when I use report is almost always, rarely you will find that, probably not even 1% time, that is directly getting the data from the table. It's always used from the view, like almost always. I never work in a place that reports is using a table directly. It's always used view, always.
Yeah,
I
that's
could
what.
be, but is view or materialized view. Okay,
Yeah, that's what we do. We
so
used
I
to like
think
when
Said Bhai,
I,
he asked earlier, which is faster, views or materialized views?
no, it depends. I mean, actually, it complete both are similar. It depends on variable like data, like say quantity of data, what kind of query you're using, because it's completely different. If you realize you have a materialized view, what is the query out of the materialized view? You have a view, what is the query against that? But normally, theoretically, if you have the same, let's say you have the same query, exactly same query, same data set, same thing, then normally materialized views little faster. Normally,
Okay, sorry.
same thing.
So, yeah, that time, sorry, Said Bhai, I misunderstood with the update. I
yeah,
mean,
I got it.
views gives you most updated
Right.
updated record.
Yeah, I got it.
Okay,
Yeah.
not most updated is the current one. Use the
Current,
current, because whenever you query from a view, it's actually giving you from the table. So it's current one, live data.
current updated,
But
right?
materialized view, it depends on what is your frequency to refresh it. What is your frequency to refresh it? If you refresh the materialized view once a month, that you are getting 1 month data set, right?
That's it.
Monthly, or is daily could be one time refresh. Like we had view materialized view that was refreshing daily every night. Okay, so refresh one time. We have weekly report, we have monthly report. So if you have a reporting thing, and if you have a monthly report or weekly report, then you use materialized view. It's very good, right? Instead of view, use materialized view, because your monthly reporting is a snapshot kind of thing, right? 1 month, that's it. But if you have a, like say, live view you need for live reporting, then you use view. If you need a current status of whatever reporting you're watching, then you use view. But if you use a snapshot kind of thing, monthly, weekly, daily kind of thing, then you use materialized view. Okay, materialized views, answer to your side by question, materialized view is faster, but of course
Yeah.
also it depends, like size. If the view is like say thousands row and materialized view is 2 billion row, then of course view will be faster. So it depends, but same query wise, same server, same query wise, materialized view is faster because its data set is there. It does not need to run any additional thing compared to view. So see, all these things that I could just give you 2 lines of definition and 3 lines of explanation, that's it. But all these things that I'm really concentrating, because this thing is very important from data warehouse tester, and you don't know who's taking your interview. If you can explain all these things in details, that will prove you that you really know inside. You don't only know how to work, you only know the concept was behind the scene. There is a difference between engineer and technician. Let's say your TV is not working. If a technician comes, he's going to check which part is not working. He's going to find that part, throw it out, and put a new one. But engineer is going to find out which part is not working, and where it's not
Right.
working, he's going to change only that part. Maybe one thing is not working. He's going to only change that one, and then instead of changing the whole part. That's the difference. Okay, so this is the thing. Knowing how to do it is one thing, but understand behind the scene how the database is working, how the concept of it, what is happening behind the scene is very helpful for you whenever you do work on view. Usually we say, anywhere you could say that, okay, table and view is the same thing, don't worry about it, done deal. But that's not the case. Why then if it's the same thing, why have 2 different things then? And materialized view the same thing, why we have 3 different things then, right? Temp table is also a table, then why we need temp table? Temp table is thousands times faster than regular table. That's the reason. We have a table variable, we have data type, right? Like say int, number, bracket, all these things. We have a data type itself table. Why we need a data type table? It's millions times faster than regular data type table. That's why. I'll come to this logic. So you need to understand this. This thing is helpful in the long run for you actually to understand the concept. Because if you understand the concept, you will have fun, or you will have interest to learning, to know more things, conceptually. That's the thing that you'll have, take you, like it's a long run, it will be helpful. So okay.
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 So we're going to talk one thing that I missed was this showing you the example as a SCD type, right? This I'll show you. And then we're going to talk about temp table, virtual table, right? This is important, virtual table. Those are the things that we're going to talk, okay?
Okay, one question.
I had
Like
few things actually from previous thing I wanted to ask, but I don't think we'll have time today.
I have a
Yeah.
question.
Yes.
QA drop and QA refresh. Just like give me a little definition for that.
QA drop and QA refresh. QA drop and QA refresh.
Yeah,
It's the same thing. We call it QA refresh, or we call it QA drop. That actually means QA drop or QA refresh. That actually means we have a production table, right? DAB. We have a
right.
table, DAB and memory, a lot of things going on, right? They're fixing it, working. Once they're finished doing that, their development, they're going to do a QA drop. They're going to do a QA drop. That means they are moving their code from DAB to QA, right? DAB,
Right.
see, this is how thing works. In the DAB, we have a source and target. We have a source and target. Same thing set up, we have QA. We have also QA source and target.
Right.
So in DAB, we have a source table, we have a target table, right? In the middle, we have the Informatica to load that. In Informatica, all these rules, right? Logic, right? Moving. Now this code that actually we move, okay? We have source and target in DAB. In the middle, we have the logic, Informatica. In the QA, we have the same thing. We have source table and target table. So in the middle, we have Informatica. So we just change that middle part. Every time there is a modification in the DAB middle part, which is the Q Informatica, we just move that to it in QA. So that's called QA drop. So QA drop means the new code has came. So now we are running it, meaning we have a source table, we are moving the data from the source using the new logic to the target. So it's called QA drop. Now QA refresh, same thing. It's called QA refresh too. But sometimes we use it initially when we first do the refresh, like code movement, we call it QA drop. After that, it's called QA refresh. Usually, that's like non-standard thing, meaning it's not the case. QA refresh and QA drop is 100% same thing, no difference. But some places, what they do is called QA drop. In the first time you're doing it, and every time you has a improvement or a change in the DAP code, if you put it in, do a migration to QA, it's called QA refresh.
Okay.
And of course, it depends also, like if you, what else you're talking about, of course. QA refresh actually meaning this is the coding, this one thing. Another thing also, the source data sometimes changes. The source data, like say you have a static data in source, right? Now in the source has a source also, right? Source actually meaning, let's say we have a staging area, that's our source, let's say. But staging area, you're getting some data from some sources, you're putting it here, done. Now the source also changes, so you need to refresh that, so that's refresh. So but QA drop and QA refresh is the same thing. We use it as normal way. I mean, it doesn't make any difference if I tell them that when you're going to do a QA refresh or when you're going to do a QA drop, that will make him understand the same thing. There's no difference. What I'm trying to say is, if you use this two word in either way, there will no confusion basically.
Okay.
Any other question?
No, that's the one which I don't. I just write the terms, but I don't have any.
Okay. So so you recorded this thing. I'm gonna do the rendering and then I'll send you the link. And then we're gonna talk tomorrow in details. I mean, not in details, like other things that we missed. Not missed new things, temp table, virtual table, and then we're gonna talk tomorrow also, guys, about some SDLC stuff. So review those things. I had some question for you, but I didn't have time today to go through.
All right.
Okay. Then we're gonna talk tomorrow. Anything else you want to talk today? Anything else? Actually, I plan also few things which I'll talk tomorrow, like some analytical function. That was my main plan today to finish analytical function and error handling. Okay, which was main plan was do this and then go through this whole stuff. But today was very helpful, I think. Was it this thing talking about it?
Yes.
Okay, so we'll talk tomorrow then, guys. Unless you have any question.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, guys.
Tomorrow. Okay then. Love is.